In this gotcha video, we're going to walk through a situation that you'll probably encounter quite frequently, dealing with partner config settings. Most settings in the partner config are checkboxes that either turn a feature on or off. If you play these scripts back over and over again and constantly check a checkbox, every time the script runs, it's going to undo the previous state that was set before. Ergo, one script will turn a setting on and the next script is going to turn it off. What we need to be able to do is have our scripts figure out if a setting is already turned on, and if it isn't, turn that setting on. What we're going to do in this video are two things. We're going to create a test case, and then I'm going to show you how to step through a test case and debug it at runtime. Let's start by creating our test case. We're going to start the recorder and log in. Now that we're logged in, let's go to the admin tab and click the partner config. In this example, we're going to deal with the no daylight savings time checkbox since it's right here at the top of the screen. We can see that the setting is currently turned on. Let's check the checkbox to turn it off and scroll to the bottom of the page and save the partner config. Now that we're done, let's just log out. Let's stop the test recorder. Now that we've got that done, let's play the test back and see what happens. We know that the daylight savings time setting had been turned on and we just turned it off in this recording of this test case. Once it logs in, let's see what it does. Well, here's our first problem. Something went wrong when we entered QA in the domain box. Let's fix that. That should be better. Let's play it again. There we go. Now that we're logged in, let's see if it can click the admin tab. It did not click the admin tab. Let's stop the test case again. We walked through this in a previous example where we opened the toolbox and we told the scripts to wait for an object to be available. In this case, the object we need to wait for is the admin tab. There we go. Now, one of the things we talked about is playing a test back from a certain point. If you click on any step and right click it, you'll get a whole context menu. We're going to right click it from the step we just added and choose play from this step. Now it was able to click the admin tab. You'll notice that it just turned the checkbox on, saved the partner config, and logged out. So we can see that that's the problem, is that if we're creating a test case to test a very specific setting from the partner config, every time the test runs, it's going to undo that setting. And that's not the situation that we want to have happen. We're going to minimize this first of all. And now we're going to log in manually. We're not going to play the test back because once the test starts, we can't stop it, we can't interfere with it. We need to modify the test outside of its execution. We've logged in, we've gone to the admin tab. We're going to click the partner config. Now we saw previously how we can click on a step and play from that step forward. In this situation, we need to deal with the entire transaction of interacting with the partner config. Every time we do that though, we don't want to get logged out. So let's right click this step and disable it. Now that we've done that, we're going to click wait for admin again. And we're going to play from that step just to confirm that the disabling did in fact work. It did. Let's go back and visit the partner config one more time. And we can see that sure enough, the daylight savings time checkbox has now been turned off again. The way we're going to deal with this situation, is to go into flow control. We've been in the toolbox before. And we found wait for object. These other two sections we'll slowly visit. Flow control has an option called if verify. If you think about what we're trying to do, we need to verify if this checkbox is turned on. If the checkbox is not on, then we need to turn it on. That's what if verify is used for. We are going to move the if verify. I don't know why that's there, but we're going to move the if verify after the partner config link. the first thing we need to do is tell it which object we're interested in. Now that we've done that, let's expand this and start looking at these details. This is probably the first time you've seen this screen. Name the code assigned to. Let's highlight that. Even though that says the code assigned to, I don't understand the difference there. We can see that highlighting, the script does see the correct object. Oh, and the other thing is, it's a checkbox. We can see that as well. And what it's currently doing is saying, does the visible text contain 1? I don't actually see any visible text. Let's look at this a little bit more and see what other options we have here. Here's a checked option. We need to see if this checkbox is checked. By default, we want to know, is it equal to checked? And if it is, we are going to, yes. So now what you're saying is, if this checkbox is checked, then do nothing. Otherwise, check it. Let's play back from this step and see what happens. We expect that this checkbox will now get checked, which it did. Perfect. Let's go back to wait for admin. Let's actually visually inspect the partner config real quick. And we can confirm the checkbox is on. We'll choose wait for admin, and we'll play from this step, and we would expect that the checkbox would not be turned off, and it was not. So that is a success. So the two things we learned here is that we can step through any test case by logging in manually and then doing a play from step. We could also play just one step, as so. Nothing else continues. The other thing that we learned is in the toolbox under flow control is a function called ifVerify. We can use this ifVerify function to programmatically determine if a certain condition exists, and if it doesn't, to take an appropriate action. In this case, if the no daylight savings time checkbox is not turned on, this function will turn it on before proceeding.